Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. In the previous two videos, we discussed the Serbian people, culture, and how to understand the mentality behind the language better. And today, we are coming back to grammar. But don't worry, this is not going to be a heavy grammar lecture. Instead, we will learn through real sentences and short stories, so you can really feel how Serbian verbs work in everyday life. So, let's begin with a short morning story. Ujutro se teško budim, ali danas sam se probudila čim je zvonio alarm. Uvek prvo operem zube. Kada operem zube, umivam se. Iako retko jedem čim ustanem, jutros sam pojela ovsenu kašu. Uz doručak sam gledala TV i pila kafu. Dok ne popijem kafu, nisam ni za šta. Spremila sam se za pola sata i otišla na posao. Idem peške jer imam vremena. Now, is there something that you notice in this story? In this text, some verbs have the same English translation, but two different forms. They clearly form pairs. Budim se, probudila sam se. Jedem, pojela sam. Idem, otišla sam. Perem, operem. While these pairs are in their core the same verbs, they do have different meanings. If we say, ujutru se teško budim, we talk about the process of waking up here. And when we say, probudila sam se čim je zvonio alarm, we talk about the action that is finished and we are focused on the result, and that is that we are awake. The same goes for other examples. Jedem, process, so we are still eating the food. Pojela sam, result, the food is eaten. Or idem, process, we are going, we are on the move, versus otišla sam, result, which means we arrived at the destination. Makes sense, right? Now, there are a few verbs that I didn't pair in this short story. Umivati se, gledati, spremiti se. Can you guess which verbs represent process and which ones represent the finished action? The verbs that represent process here are umivati se and gledati. Their pairs would be umiti se, pogledati. The one that represents the finished action is spremiti se. And here is its pair that represents the process, spremati se. And this brings us to the key idea of today's lesson, and that is the verbal aspect of Serbian verbs. In Serbian, verbs come in two aspects. Perfective, svršeni, which focuses on the result or completed action, and imperfective, nesvršeni, with a focus on the process, duration. You can think about it like this. The imperfective aspect often expresses a meaning similar to continuous tenses in English, something that is happening, repeating, or lasting. The perfective aspect shows that something is finished. Not too scary, right? Now, the question is how to recognize which verbs are perfective and which ones are imperfective. Many perfective verbs have a prefix, which is always a straightforward indicator. Probuditi se, popiti, oprati. But perfective verbs do not always have prefixes. When they are without prefix, for example, otvoriti, which is a perfective pair of otvarati, or kupiti, a perfective pair of kupovati, then they are usually a shorter verb in a pair. This is not always the case, but it can be used as a tentative rule when you are not sure. Let's compare them. Otvoriti, otvarati. Otvorila sam prozor. Svako jutro otvaram prozor. Now we have kupiti, kupovati. Jutro sam kupila hleb. Kupujem hleb u toj pekari. And the last one, razmisliti, razmišljati. Razmislit ću o tome. Razmišljam o tome ceo dan. So, the best advice we can give you here is very practical. Don't learn verbs one by one alone. Learn them in pairs and inside sentences within a context. To make this easier for you and give you a good starting point, we will learn and practice some of the most common verbs in pairs. Let's start. Try imagining small everyday moments and situations. For instance, učim srpski svaki dan. Naučila sam mnogo novih reči. Can you guess which one is the process, imperfective, and which one is the result, perfective? If you're having trouble with the translation and understanding of this sentence, the first indicator can be the prefix na in NAUČITI. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, prefixes are always indicators of perfective verbs, the result. So, that makes the first sentence the process, imperfective form. Učiti, naučiti. One more example. Pišem poruku drugarici. Napisala je knjigu prošle godine. You guessed it. Pišem from pisati is the imperfective form and napisala je from napisati is the perfective form. And here something very interesting happens. Serbian prefixes can also change meaning, not only aspect. So from pisati we can have opisati to describe, zapisati to write down, or prepisati to copy. We won't go deep into prefixes today because this is a whole world of meanings, but this is exactly the kind of topic we explore step by step in our intermediate course. That course is designed for students who already have the basics and they want to finally feel confident to understand nuances, speak more naturally, and stop translating in their head all the time. So, if your goal is not only to learn Serbian, but to actually use it with ease, that is where we do this deeper work together. I will leave the link in the description, so make sure to check it out on our website. Moving on to another common pair, praviti, napraviti. Pravim ručak svaki dan. Jel hoćeš da mi napraviš kafu? Next is čitati, pročitati. Čitam samo pred spavanjem. Pročitala sam zanimljivu priču. If you want to inform someone when you will arrive, then you will say dolazim u 8. But if you want to say to someone that when you arrived at the destination earlier, you will say došla sam u 8. So here we have dolaziti, doći. Now, many learners think that the perfective form of this verb doći is connected only to the past tense, but that's not the case. Doći can also appear in other tenses. For example, kada dođem, pozvaću te. In Serbian, the present tense usually uses imperfective verbs. The main exception is after connectors like kada, when, ako, if, and čim, as soon as, where we use a perfective verb in the present tense to talk about a future action. So, instead of this, we could also say ako dođem, pozvaću te. But this changes the meaning to if I come, I will call you. Or Čim dođem, pozvaću te. With a more specific meaning. As soon as I come, I will call you. Okay, let's practice together, and this time, don't think about grammar. Think about the feeling, process, or result. I will read the sentence, and you should choose between the perfective and imperfective form of the same verb from the brackets. Od sljedećeg mjeseca 6 dana nedeljno. Od sljedećeg mjeseca radim 6 dana nedeljno. Sestra mi je upravo najbolju kafu. Sestra mi je upravo skuvala najbolju kafu. Kada kupujem novi šporet, kuvaću svaki dan. Kada kupim novi šporet. Konačno sam... Gde sam ostavio telefon? Konačno sam se setio gde sam ostavio telefon. I stvarno nisam trošila or potrošila mnogo para u šopingu. What a typical lie. Stvarno nisam potrošila mnogo para u šopingu. Excellent. Nadam se da vam je ovo pomoglo da shvatite glagolski vid. You see, I use the verb pomoglo from the infinitive pomoći, a perfective verb, to emphasize the result. If you need more practice, we have something very useful for you. You can find free downloadable flashcards on our website with 50 verbal aspect pairs. Each pair comes with an example and a blank space for you to write your own sentence. I will leave the link in the description so you can get your sample as soon as you finish watching this video. The truth is, the verbal aspect can look confusing in the beginning, but the truth is very encouraging. You don't need perfect rules. You need exposure, pairs, and context. And little by little, your brain will start to recognize what is a process and what is a result. And soon, you will use aspects correctly without even thinking about them, just like native speakers do. Thank you for learning Serbian with us. If this video helped you, like it, subscribe to our channel and share it with someone who is also learning Serbian. Vidimo se u sljedećem videu.